I'm going to start tonight by thanking heaven for the New York State Health Department. It's not often I say something like, that's kind about a massive, bloated government state agency filled with mindless bureaucrats who do nothing but bankrupt the state by bogging it down with needless red tape. But this time they've outdone themselves. They have quite possibly saved each and every child in the state of New York from severe injury and possibly death. Well, how did they do it? After hours, I'm sure, of painstaking, expensive research conducted by the top minds in the country, state officials have identified and listed risky activities for kids at summer camp. It's an amazing list, because I never had any idea that some of these activities could pose a severe risk to children. Here's the list. Freeze tag, wiffle ball, kickball, capture the flag, red rover, send someone right over. And of course, dodgeball. Yes, if I hadn't been thinking fast, I could have been hurt, maybe even killed on live television. Thank Jesus that the state of New York is looking out for you and your children. All they mandate in return is that any group doing at least 2 of these activities, now try to put this into your head, it's a summer camp, for the love of Pete. Imagine your kids are gone for a week and they would play, let's say, freeze tag and wiffle ball. Oh, you can't have that. Not in the state of New York. No. Damn it. No, man. If you want to play dodgeball and kickball, you'll then have to register and pay a $200 fee to the state to register at a state-approved summer camp. So the next time your friends start dumping on American politicians for crippling America with a mountain of red tape and just nothing but debt, remind them, danger! Kids should never have any boo-boos is not good enough. Danger, kids will never have any boo-boos. Our government is doing the right thing, saving little children from a deadly rash of violent freeze tag accidents sweeping the nation as we speak. Thank you, New York. Thank you. Oh, but that didn't seem sarcastic to you, did it? Because I meant it from somewhere in this general area. Hello, America. I'd like to ask you if you can recall a period in history where the government was so intent on making sure that our kids are safe. Give me the ball again. Don't be careful. Walk it over here, Aaron. Don't just throw it. I could be killed. I could be killed, America. Careful, 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 careful. Careful. The government wants you to know that your kids must be very careful with balls like this. You could be hurt or killed, but at the same time, strangely, at the same time, our government is telling you, it's crazy to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. I've never seen that before from responsible people. They tell us, worry about this, but don't worry about anything else. We'll take care of it. You go shopping. Everything will be okay. Don't question anything. God forbid you question with boldness, as recommended by Thomas Jefferson. God forbid you have any courage. God forbid you teach your children to have any courage. I could get hit by the ball. I might not get picked for Red Rover. Oh. Tragic. It's getting hard to separate fiction and fantasy from reality. Nothing makes sense. It's kind of hard to ignore the perfect storm that's building and bearing down on America right now. We're worried about this, but we're definitely not worried about this. No, don't worry about that. They'll take care of it. This is what we have to be concerned about. The national debt just surpassed $14.3 trillion for the first time in all of human history. To give you some idea of how big this is, it jumped $34.54 billion in one day, tax day. Oh, I call it charity day at my house. Didn't you feel charitable when you were signing that all away? It's great. $34 billion to reach the milestone in one day. But don't worry, because Congress has made the historic $38 billion cut that they fought so hard over. One day. One. And the numbers just keep rolling. They're very serious about cutting. They know they are. Federal regulators would like you to believe that this is going to be the death of us. Aaron, take this away before it hurts somebody. Take it. Careful. It could go off at any time. But inflation is under control. Inflation, they'll tell you, is 2.7% annual rate, of course. However, if we use not this calculation, you know, the calculation we're using now, but the way we calculated inflation, I don't know, since the beginning of time until 1980, which the government changed to mask inflation, real inflation is actually 9.6. Now that feels more like it, doesn't it? Seeing that gas prices are now over $4 a gallon in six different states and the District of Columbia. Stock market took a dive yesterday, dropping almost 250 points. Then it closed 140 points down. Gee, I wonder if there's somebody, the Fed, that had a lot of money, the Fed, that could swoop in at the last minute and help this out, the Fed. I'm wondering, do you think? Now, what would cause the markets to tank? Because nothing is making them. Revolution, where we get all of our energy. No, just keep pouring the money into the stock market. Isn't it great that Wall Street is winning? We warned back in 2008 of what happened yesterday. 2008, 6 or 8 months before President Obama was elected. Watch.
The credit of the United States will be downgraded. The rest of the world will know we're not serious by any stretch of the imagination. In a very short period of time, foreign governments will say, I'm not loaning these people any money because they can't pay it back.
Glenn Beck is crazy, man. Glenn Beck, while kids are dying from wiffle ball, he's talking about this.
That's 2008, under George W. Bush. Wow, was I dangerous back then? Yeah, because that's what they called me. Dangerous or accurate? Have to ask yourself, is the worst behind us? Will food and gas be more or less expensive in the future? Is my retirement safe? The spending in Washington, does it make my dollar worth more or less? Are there things that I can do to protect myself? Yeah, okay. The worst is not behind us. Food and gas is going to be more expensive. Your retirement is not safe. The spending in Washington is going to crush the dollar. Are there things you can do to protect yourself? Yes. Then it gets you down to this question. Why would someone urge me to remain unprepared? Why? Why? Well, I'm sure they believe that the market recovery is fantastic. Let me show you a chart from the Business Insider. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on just a second. Let's see. Is there a higher probability of a 20% rally or 20% pullback? Okay, this was in January of this year, and it looks like 70% said it's going to be a rally. Now in April, all of a sudden it was like, okay, this is very rare to have this flip happen like that. The markets are reacting yesterday to the S&P downgrading the outlook for the United States credit rating from stable, that's us, to negative, freak out, there might be a game of wiffle ball. Now, how significant is this downgrade? Well, in 2 decades, 5 AAA-rated countries have been assigned negative outlooks. First time in 70 years that the agency cut our long-term outlook from stable to negative. You know what? You know why they did that? 70 years, go back in the time machine, 70 years, what event made us lose stable as the credit rating? Oh, that's right. Pearl Harbor. Now, you have to ask yourself, if that's the last time we lost this rating, what was it? Because that's when everybody's like, freak out. Something bigger than wiffle ball may be falling on your head. What is it now that is making us, what is our Pearl Harbor today? What is it this time? Oh, there it is. It's like zeros flying in. There she blows. To have this credit rating changed is extremely rare, and it is the first real warning sign, part of the last, hey, look, I think we've hit an iceberg. They're starting to lower the lifeboats. It's a clear warning sign that America will not be able to get its spending in line with its revenues before losing its AAA status. What does that mean? Well, it ties into something else that I've warned about, the devaluation of the dollar and the rise of gold. Now, of course, critics called me a fearmonger. I'm so used to that now. I don't know what I'll do when people don't call me a fearmonger anymore and just start calling me right. They said that I was just saying these things to drive up the price of gold. God forbid anybody on television or radio or anything says anything that's actually real. God forbid anybody actually believes anything in this God-forsaken business. Gold doesn't need my help. Federal government doing a bang-up job all on their own, driving up the demand and price of gold. Oh, yeah. No, they're doing a good job. And a wiffle ball game may break out at any time. Didn't take a genius to see it coming. You just had to not look at the playgrounds and worry about dodgeball and actually keep your eye on the real ball. The federal government spending way more money than it takes in. Repeat the cycle for nearly a century. Eventually the dollar is worthless and gold skyrockets. Then the gold standard, oh my gosh, gold standard. It's like gold standard is real gold. Wow, it's like been like that since, I don't know, Moses. Did anyone notice that gold hit $1,500 today? It's funny because I remember when I first started talking about gold, it was $670. All the experts said, Glenn, it can't possibly go any higher than that. Then it kept going up and up and up until it reached about $1,000. The experts said, okay, it can't go up possibly more than $1,000. That's crazy. And then it went up and up. On July 20th, last summer, Congressman Weiner launched a formal investigation. That's when gold was at $1,189 an ounce. Yeah, he had to do an investigation on one of my sponsors, completely unmotivated by any kind of politics. No, that wasn't using the federal tax dollars or the system to target political opponents. No, That was an honest look at how I was ripping people off by saying that you should buy gold. Because gold can't possibly go higher than that. Whoopsie. I wonder if the Weiner man will investigate himself for ripping off Americans that should have bought gold. By the way, silver is continuing to climb as well. And what are they doing? Nothing. They are borrowing in Washington $188 million every hour. Borrowing $188 million every hour. I just showed you how quickly the national debt grows. Can anyone explain this? No, the worst is not behind us. Food and gas will not be less expensive. Your retirement is safe. Spending in Washington is under control. This one, there are things you can do to protect yourself. But Weiner said no. Everybody. Could you just have some extra food on hand? Go out and buy it when it's cheap. Have it. I believe I said because this spring, things are going to be tough. I said that last fall. Why would someone urge you to remain unprepared? How is America paying her bills? Well, the same way you do. At home, usually when you're in trouble racking up a credit card. We're able to do that because at the moment we have a AAA credit rating. That means like when you go in to buy a car and they're like, your credit score is great. Good. You get a loan, you get it easily, and you get a low rate. But what happens when you go into that car dealership and either you screwed up your credit rating or somebody else has screwed up your credit rating? What happens? You get the car? The S&P move indicates what's on our horizon. AAA status is the highest status. Okay? And it goes great, extremely strong, very strong, and then it starts to come with some caveats like, uh-oh, trouble. Economic conditions and changes in circumstances may be on the corner. It's a thin line. I mentioned only five in the last 20 years have ever been downgraded to negative, and only 2 regained their stable status. Will we? Great Britain just regained theirs, and the only reason that they were given their stable status back was because of strict austerity measures to cut spending. They say this will ultimately reduce the deficit, so they had to get rid of all these programs and everything else. But you remember what happened in the streets when they started doing these things to regain their status? The communists and the Marxists and the radicals came out, and did this. I want to show you a chart. You notice that only 2 of the top world economies are in negative. It's us, right here, and negative. It's Spain. Oh my gosh, Spain. Oh, there's the people we want to mirror. Spain's economy is on fire. Not the good kind of fire, but it's still on fire. Unemployment? Oh, they have unemployment, sure. It's 2 and a 0, which means nothing. It's like 2 or 20%. Okay, it's 20. Let's look at our debt as percentage of GDP ratio. Oh, look at this. We're the second highest. Oh, these are the guys here. These are the guys. They're sinking into the ocean. That would make us number 1. We lose the AAA credit rating. America's credit card rate goes up. It gets harder to get loans. Look away, America. Go shopping. Go to sleep. Nothing to see here. Go about your business. Don't prepare. Don't prepare. Don't prepare. Why would someone urge you to remain unprepared? Why would someone try to collapse the U.S. economy? Why? We just watch them rack up more debt. Is anybody preparing? Somebody's got to be preparing. Probably, my grandfather told me, the time to have money is when nobody has money. Who has money? And who's preparing? We'll go into a little more of this next.